Part 1. The Crescent City Curse. New Orleans, where the echoes of jazz and the aroma of Creole spices weave through the air, a darkness lingered that the throngs of Bourbon Street tourists could never have imagined. Amidst the revelry and the clinking of Mardi Gras beads, two figures moved stealthily, legends made flesh, Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. Mickey Mouse, a dwarf-like creature bearing the ghastly features of a mouse, his ears large and round, twitched at the sounds of joy that he so despised. His companion, Winnie the Pooh, was a grotesque mimicry of a bear, whose once fuzzy visage was now a nightmare of matted fur and gaping wounds, a true undead aberration. They were the whispered curse of the French Quarter, the shadow that chilled the spine of the drunk and the sober alike. These undead hunters, born of a voodoo hex so old that the very cobblestones seemed to recall their origin, prowled for the unwary, the stragglers who fell behind the safety of the crowd. Their first catch of the night was near the vibrant Jackson Square, where a lone tourist sought the perfect shot of St. Louis Cathedral. The duo sprang from the darkness, Mickey Mouse with his gnarled hands and Winnie the Pooh using his hulking form to block any escape. The tourist's scream was swallowed by the cacophony of Bourbon Street's exuberance. And so it went, each night of the sultry Louisiana summer. From the haunted depths of the Voodoo Museum to the raucous din of Pat O'Brien's bar, no corner of the French Quarter was spared their grim visitation. The legends of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh grew with each disappearance, each unexplained shadow, each unheeded warning. But New Orleans was a city bathed in magic, and its people were no strangers to the fight against darkness. As the city draped itself in the purple, green, and gold of the coming Mardi Gras, plans were whispered in courtyards and over the counters of apothecaries. The Crescent City would not let its nights be stolen by the curse of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. The hunt was about to turn, as the hunters would soon become the hunted. Part 2. Shadows on the Bayou. The sun dipped below the horizon, staining the sky with streaks of crimson and violet as the city of New Orleans transitioned from the languid warmth of day to the electric thrill of the night. But with the fall of darkness, a sinister pall settled over Bourbon Street, for Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh were on the prowl once more. The air was thick with humidity and the promise of revelry. Tourists thronged the famed street, drawn by the siren call of jazz from the clubs, the spicy scent of jambalaya from the bistros, and the otherworldly allure of the supernatural tours that promised a glimpse into the city's haunted past. They wandered, carefree, unaware that the true spirits of New Orleans walked among them. On this night, Mickey Mouse's eyes gleamed with a cruel anticipation as he lurked in the shadow of the presbytere, his gaze fixed on a group of tourists laughing under the balcony of the iconic murals. They were ripe for the harvest, their guard lowered by the city's intoxicating atmosphere and their spirits buoyed by the drinks in their hands. Winnie the Pooh ambled with a deceptive slowness near the entrance to the Vieux Carré, his massive form obscured in the dim light cast by the flickering gas lamps. His clawed paws, remnants of a once gentle existence, now bore the curse of his undead life, eager to ensnare a soul for their midnight macabre. The duo communicated in hushed growls and squeaks, a language born of their shared damnation. Tonight, they would strike at the heart of the city's joy, where the crowds were thickest and the music swelled. The legendary Pat O'Brien's, with its flaming fountains and hurricanes that promised to sweep away one's inhibitions. As the night wore on, a young couple, entranced by the vibrancy around them, strayed from the safety of the throng into an alley off Bourbon, enticed by the promise of an authentic glimpse of New Orleans's hidden world. The couple, hand in hand, ventured deeper into the darkness, not noticing the scuttling and the lumbering shapes that followed them. Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh descended upon them with the silence of the grave, their forms merging with the darkness. There were no screams heard over the revelry just steps away. Their fate was sealed as quietly as the mist that rolled off the Mississippi. The gruesome tableau they left in their wake was a macabre masterpiece that would remain undiscovered until the light of day revealed the true horror of the night. The cobblestones of the French Quarter, no strangers to bloodshed, received yet another dark stain to their storied history. As dawn approached and the night's revelries turned to weary journeys home, the malevolent spirits of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh retreated to the bayou, where the cypress trees and Spanish moss kept their secrets. But the city would not forget, and the whispered prayers of the faithful began to weave a counterspell to the curse that had befallen their beloved Big Easy. The tale of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh had become a chilling chapter in the annals of New Orleans, a warning that the city's embrace could turn to a deadly grip in the blink of an eye. Part 3. The Haunting of the French Market. As the moon ascended its nocturnal throne, casting a ghostly glow over the Mississippi, the French Quarter braced itself for another night of terror. Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh had become more than mere specters of folklore. They were now harbingers of death in the heart of New Orleans. In the labyrinth of streets, where the air hung heavy with the scent of spices and beignets, the French market stood as a beacon of life and commerce. By day, it bustled with vendors and tourists, a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. But as night fell, it transformed into a desolate maze of shadows and silence, a perfect hunting ground for the cursed duo. This night, their gruesome gaze settled on a group of friends, out-of-towners drawn to the exotic allure of the Vieux Carré. The group laughed and joked, their voices echoing off the shuttered stalls and empty alleyways of the market. They were blissfully unaware of the two sets of eyes that watched them from the darkness. Mickey Mouse, with his ears twitching at every sound, led the way, his twisted form slipping through the shadows with an unnerving agility. Winnie the Pooh lumbered behind, his massive, decaying frame a grotesque parody of the cuddly toy he once resembled. The friends, lost in their conversation, wandered aimlessly through the market. They paused to admire a voodoo doll displayed in a closed shop window, unaware that real voodoo was at play in the very streets they wandered. It was then that the attack came. Swift and silent as a bayou gator, Mickey Mouse pounced, his claws sinking into flesh with a sickening ease. Winnie the Pooh roared, a sound that was part growl, part death rattle, as he cornered the others against the wrought iron railings of the market. The chaos that ensued was a blur of screams and tearing flesh, a scene so horrific that even the denizens of the underworld would avert their eyes. The once lively group was reduced to mere playthings in the claws of the cursed creatures. As quickly as they had struck, Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh vanished into the night, leaving behind a scene of carnage that would forever haunt the storied streets of the French Quarter. Word of the massacre at the French market spread like wildfire, stoking the flames of fear that had been simmering in the heart of the city. The police were baffled, the witnesses too traumatized to speak. The only clues were the inhuman tracks that led back to the bayou, where the mist shrouded the secrets of the night. The people of New Orleans, long accustomed to the supernatural, knew that this was no ordinary killer. As the city's oldest families gathered to consult the voodoo queens and the priests, a plan began to form. It was time to fight back, to confront the darkness that had descended upon their beloved city. The stage was set for a confrontation that would be remembered in the annals of New Orleans lore. The hunters would soon meet their match, as the spirits of the city rose to defend their home against the nightmare of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. Part 4. The Gathering Storm. In the eerie calm that followed the massacre at the French market, the French Quarter seemed to hold its breath. The vibrant energy that once pulsed through the heart of New Orleans had been replaced by a palpable sense of dread. Whispers of a final stand against the horrors of Mickey Mouse and Winnie. The Pooh swept through the cobblestone streets as the city's protectors prepared for a confrontation steeped in ancient magic and desperate resolve. Beneath the flickering gas lamps of Bourbon Street, a meeting of the city's most revered voodoo queens, mystics, and elders convened in secret, Among them was Marie Laveau's descendant, a woman of formidable power and knowledge of the old ways. They gathered in a hidden courtyard, surrounded by the protective symbols and talismans of their craft. "The time has come to reclaim our city," she declared, her voice a mixture of fury and sorrow. "The spirits of New Orleans will no longer tolerate the presence of these abominations." Plans were made, spells were woven, and charms were blessed. The group knew the battle ahead would be fraught with peril. Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh were not mere beasts. They were manifestations of a curse deeply entwined with the city's shadowed past. As night descended, a heavy fog rolled in from the Mississippi, blanketing the streets in a ghostly shroud. The mystics and their allies took their positions, forming a circle around the heart of the French Quarter. Each held a candle, the flames flickering in the damp air, creating a barrier of light and hope. In the depths of the bayou, Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh sensed the gathering storm. They moved with a sense of urgency, drawn to the heart of the city by an unseen force. The hunters had become the hunted, their reign of terror challenged by the very souls they had sought to devour. The confrontation began at the stroke of midnight, as the bells of St. Louis Cathedral tolled mournfully. Mickey Mouse, with his gnarled claws and jagged teeth, leaped at the barrier, only to be repelled by an invisible force. Winnie the Pooh roared in frustration, his undead might unable to penetrate the mystic shield. The battle raged through the night, a dance of light and darkness, as the voodoo practitioners chanted incantations that echoed through the streets. The air was charged with the power of ancient rituals and the unyielding will of a city that refused to succumb to darkness. Amidst the chaos, Marie Laveau's descendant stepped forward, holding a talisman that glowed with a spectral light. She spoke the words of a powerful curse, a spell that had been passed down through generations, meant to banish the darkest of evils. Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh writhed in agony as the spell took hold, their forms beginning to dissipate like smoke in the wind. Their screams were a symphony of defeat, echoing off the buildings of the French Quarter. As dawn approached, the creatures were no more, their existence erased by the combined might of the city's protectors. The barrier of candles flickered out, one by one, leaving behind a sense of peace that had been absent for far too long. The sun rose over New Orleans, casting its warm glow on streets that had witnessed a night of terror and triumph. The city had endured, its spirit unbroken, a testament to the resilience and strength of its people. But in the depths of the bayou, where the fog still clung to the cypress trees, a whisper lingered on the wind. New Orleans had won the battle, but the war against the darkness was never truly over. The legacy of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh would live on in the tales told in hushed tones, a chilling reminder of the price of forgetting the past. Part 5. The Echoes of Eldritch. As the first light of dawn broke over the French Quarter, casting its golden hue over the cobblestone streets and wrought iron balconies, a sense of peace settled over New Orleans. The epic confrontation between the forces of light and the malevolent spirits of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh had come to a close. The city, so long held in the grip of fear, now breathed a collective sigh of relief. The mystics and voodoo practitioners, exhausted but triumphant, gathered in Jackson Square as the sun rose higher, dispersing the last remnants of the night's fog. The curse that had brought the monstrous duo to life had been broken, the balance between the natural and supernatural worlds restored. News of the victory spread quickly, with tales of bravery and magic weaving their way into the fabric of the city's lore. The French Quarter, so often alive with music and laughter, now also hummed with a story of darkness overcome and unity in the face of unspeakable evil. But even as the city celebrated, a lingering unease remained. The mystics knew that such forces as had given rise to Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh were never fully vanquished. They existed in the shadows, in the legends and histories of New Orleans, waiting for the moment to rise again. In the heart of the bayou, where the cypress trees whispered secrets to the wind and the waters held the memories of the past, a faint whistling could be heard. It was a haunting melody, reminiscent of the tune once hummed by Mickey Mouse, now carried by the breeze as a reminder that some legends never truly die. The people of New Orleans continued their lives, the city's vibrant pulse resuming its rhythm. But in the back of their minds, the residents knew that the darkness could return, that the boundary between their world and the world of shadows was thin and fragile. As the last of the candles used in the ritual burned out, leaving behind a wisp of smoke, it seemed to carry a message, a warning that the story of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh was not yet complete. The legacy of their terror was etched into the city's history, a dark chapter that could one day, under the right circumstances, be reopened. In the streets of the French Quarter, life danced on, but the echoes of the eldritch night lingered, a haunting melody that played softly in the background, a reminder that in New Orleans, the line between the living and the dead, the real and the unreal, was always just a whisper away. Thank you for joining me on this eerie journey through Voodoo Twilight, the curse of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. If this tale sent shivers down your spine and left you craving more dark mysteries, please show your support. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this story. It helps more than you know. And if you're new here or haven't yet subscribed, consider joining our community for more chilling tales. Just click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to never miss a new release. Share this story with your friends and fellow horror enthusiasts. Let's spread the chill, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below with your reactions, theories, or even suggestions for future stories. Thank you for listening, and remember, in the world of haunts and horrors, you never know what's lurking just around the corner. Until next time.